Magnus versus Felt. It's going to be an interesting best of 3, and I'm definitely favoring Team Magnus game 1. Who you got? Who's your money on?
Definitely same story for me. The Kunkka can be very good in the offlane, but he tends to be good against the melee heroes. And Drow is a lot of things, according to things I've seen on the internet, but not a melee hero.
Oh, well, maybe you haven't been in my pubs where the Draw Rangers believe that Battle Fury works somehow. I'm just kidding. I've seen it before though. I've been griefed by a Draw who bought Battle Fury before. It was not a great time. Wasn't a great game. Wasn't a great game.
I can imagine.
That's one of the reasons. Hey, games like that is why I don't like playing support past 5 anymore these days. But we're back in it. Early contestation of bounties, not gonna happen. Sorry, Wingblade. No early chaos for you. It's gonna be super standard. We already have wards plopped out. They were plopped out under cover of smoke as well. Unless, oh my gosh, okay, this is the most we'll get out of the excitement. Is hoping that he finds the sentry, but that's it. That's all. I'm sorry, man.
Hey Snare, I know one thing for sure this game, and that is that Disruptor is not gonna die of a vitamin C deficiency. Because my goodness, this man has a lot of mangoes.
Ooh, he is prepared to ward off the scurvy in this particular game. Jeez, Disruptor. 5 mangoes. Trap Nest on the Shadow Demon has 3. I think these supports are ready to do some harass here, Wingblade. These lanes are going to be entertaining at best for these fault heroes on the side lanes, but terrible and very frustrating at worst. We'll see how they fare here. But more importantly, this is the lane that we have to focus on. Solji on this OD versus the Mark Queen of Pain. Who's going to come out ahead here, Wingblade? What does this matchup look like?
It is gonna be a lot of range creep securing. Like the OD has the level 1 Astral picked up to secure the range creep. Mike on the Quap has his Cream of Pain to secure his range creep. It's just gonna be a lot of farming, and then at some point these heroes are gonna realize, hey, wait, we have harassment now. And then we're gonna see a lot of harassment. But at that point, Mark is already gonna have his bottle, and Soldier is probably already gonna have his Ring of Health. But the early stages of this lane, I would say, are a Quap favorite.
He certainly needs to be able to put that pressure out to make good on why they picked this hero for her. Open up space on the map as well. As we see down bottom, something really funny just happened. Steel Borko almost died. He got disrupted and almost right-clicked down by his own illusions from the Weaver. And we just have a quick pause. Gives us time to get the lay of the land as we go to those top lane as well. Jack on the Straw Ranger. Like we mentioned, Kunkka definitely not that great against all these range heroes. He'll be decent enough to secure his own CS thanks to the Tidebringer cleave, but Drow find her farm, and if they find a good situation to throw out some harass, there is very meager, but it's possible that kills can happen, but can also happen in both directions. And now this Disruptor in a bad place up, but there's no telekinesis just yet. He dodges the torrent like a mouse. Might still die though. Fairy Fire keeps him alive, and he's not gonna get brought down. He's fine. Everything's okay.
Not really the ideal situation for this Disruptor though, already having to use his last self. There is a bit of regen coming in the career, but just 3 tangos. Not the dream start for sure.
Like you said, it's a bit of regen and nothing more. Just a little bit. Down bottom. The Smarts definitely having himself a good time so far, getting decent amount of CS. Feels like this is a lane where with the help of Trap Nest, they should be able to secure a lot of farm for the Smarts. The kill potential doesn't seem like it's always going to be on, but they're going to put the Swarm Bugs out onto him. How quickly can they destroy the Steel Borko? Might decide to run forward, tempted by how low the Smarts is getting. Very dangerous. He'll still make the jump, diving the tower. Will he be able to find the kill? There's going to be usage of the heals, but it's not enough. Steel Borko still able to pick up the kill. It actually goes the way of this Raid King. Throwing in the Skelly Bros from afar. Just enough damage to secure the kill, and that's a great way to start the lane right now for Felt.
Yep. We can see OD starting to struggle a little bit in terms of regen, but in terms of CS, he's having a pretty great time.
Doing really, really well here. Level 4, he's 10 and 6 versus the 7 and 5. Always feels great when you have effectively the equivalent amount of denies that your opponent has lost hits. Super situation. Oh, and the tower kills the raid creep in front of Mark. Yeah. Very happy about this. That's not a good sign though, Wingblade. Zor on this Kunkka being zoned away from his lane right now and having no easy and viable path back into it. There are some tangles, but there's no big solve, so you have to play super carefully, at least until the return of this Rubik, who TP'd out, so he has to make the long trek back to this top lane. That's going to allow a lot more free farm for Jack on the draw.
And that is the dream start for a draw. The one way you can shut down a draw is to shut her down early. Because if she gets the items, she is terrifying. When she gets a BKB, I have no idea how they're gonna stop her.
With great difficulty, I think is the answer on that one. I also have no idea what they're going to do at that point. Well, need to prevent her from getting there. Right now, though,
OD moving in.
around this rune here, OD might find a kill, gets the banish off after he gets glimpsed back, and look at Wake Me Up, running in to just quickly kill the courier. The juke attempts for the disruptor certainly will not happen, so just gonna have a heads up kill. Wake Me Up might die on the 4th tick of the Thunder Strike, and he will. Loses his life, but will not give up any experience though.
He was next to Roche, but he didn't wanna give Roche the pleasure.
Hey man, what if Roche got too much experience and he's too strong to kill later? You know,
good point.
Keep him weak for now. Bottom, they're going another engagement onto Trap Nest. They really want the Shadow Demon. Dragged back with the spear onto Komod. So Felt can't make the full chase happen. Was a scary situation, and Trap Nest definitely feeling like this is going to happen to him more times than not in this game. Whenever there's swarm bugs on him, he's not going to feel very happy about his life. And in the top lane though, Zor also not feeling super happy about the situation, but there's no glimpse available anymore. Had already been committed by our Disruptor. And this will... Right now, they're okay with this on Team Magnus. Sure, you're not getting the kills on the top lane, but you're resisting getting killed down bottom, and crucially, you're getting CS in all parts of the map but middle. But I don't think that you are needing the Queen of Pain to be the one that has the best start to the game. It's primarily going to be about the two side laners, and they're doing it right now, Wingblade.
This mid lane has been really intense. Usually, you see the two mid laners leading the CS for their respective teams, but they're kind of both suffering. The tables have turned. No more fun for mid players.
Nope. Mid players have to struggle. They have to suffer. Just like this Kunkka had to suffer in the top lane, getting dragged back. Oh, nice. The counter to the glimpse. X marks the spot. Able to get himself back immediately. And Trap Nest, unfortunately, not fast enough without boot or a Windlace to be able to show up in time and render assistance. So he's just going to be able to escape there. Good play from the Kunkka. He's also got allies streaming in, so won't be muscled out completely from this lane. With Trap Nest being over this side of the map though, it does mean that this Mars is going to have to play a lot more carefully and a lot more closely to the tier 1 tower. That opens up space now in this bottom lane for the Raid King. He's starting to dip into this jungle and accelerate his timing towards the Omelette. Is this Omelette Blink game, I think? What? Top? They want Jack. They almost got him. A lot of damage dished out. They get the X marks the spot. Trap Nest shows up, finds the save. They need to get these kills first before Jack comes back. And they found the one. Will they find the other? Zor now finding that he's gone way too far forward. Trap Nest with a double kill. Okay, beautiful rotation. You were talking about how they need to shut down Jack as early as possible. They make the attempt. They end up getting punished heavily for it though.
Really nice sidestep at the last moment by Jack as well. The Tidebringer was so close to killing him.
So far, it's been only 5 kills in this early game, but they've been very tense lanes. Mid lane has been quite hotly contested between the OD and the Co-op, but the contestation is largely going in favor of the OD. A lot more net worth at this point, given how tightly this has been at this point, but obviously this can all change with basically a single rotation. Meme Hammer is now available for Solji, so we could easily see heroes come to his aid or he go to other heroes' aid. Either way, the danger levels of this OD have increased dramatically, and the farm potential as well. Gonna clear out a pretty big stack right now in the jungle with this Meteor Hammer and some Arcane Orb hits.
Gets a Fairy's Trinket as well. That's the perfect item to get. At this stage, it's gonna be very hard for Quop to stay in lane once OD returns. It's also gonna be hard for a Disruptor.
Get a kill onto Disruptor. Yep, it's very hard. Well, easy now, you're dead. Mark though, looking for revenge, jumping forward to find Wake Me Up and Sonic Wave. Woo! You know, it's still just 1-1 support trade, but one kill was a lot flashier than the other. Mark very happy to just drop down the ultimate straight away to make sure that he finishes off the Rubik.
Pretty nice trade. So far, 1k lead for Felt. Mostly the Raid King having a really good time.
So for comfort here, do we get the normal build-up that we get from Raid Kings nowadays? Armlet, Blink, BKB, Deso, like just one of, like 3 of those 4 items mentioned, obviously starting with the Armlet, or is he gonna do something funky, heading back to the old days by going for Radiance or something? Highly doubtful against the Drow Ranger, but I really would like to see a Blink from him.
Yeah, I think that is very good. Going for a Midas is an option as well, but he just needs to get on top of the Drow because he is the one answer they have to Jack.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
Jack has finished off the Dragon Lance, just arriving now, whilst his team is happily trying to posture around the tier 1 to clear it out. Still Borko shows up, they drop a sentry right on his face. They don't have the Static Storm, but they do have the Spear of Mars. Doesn't connect onto anything, but they know he doesn't have time lapse, so they'll find the kill regardless. Picked up quite quickly. They also make this rotation middle with this Disruptor, just in case Mark needed some assistance, but they replace him down bottom with Jack, who's going to be happy to supply some additional right-click damage, has access to the marksmanship, so they can try and fight onto the tier 1 tower, whilst the rest of the lineup is middle trying to take a kill. But that was actually a key and a clutch disruption, or astral imprisonment rather. The Disruptor had his hands up for the glimpse. Doesn't end up happening though. Everything's okay.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Tier 1 mid is gonna stay alive, and Magnus is gonna get the tier 1 bottom without any contest really. At the same time, Comfort has finished his armlet, so he is looking very scary right now.
Comfort with this Wraith King. Really put the point into this Resurrection. Not gonna bother waiting with the pocket pick. So Reincarnation is up. He'll be able to use the rest of the points for the farm speed that he needs for himself. This vision control that we've seen around the map has, well, I thought we're gonna take a second here as Disruptor about to die. Well, it's a good thing it's Disruptor, because I was about to talk about him and say that whenever we see Disruptor games being played out, you like to lay out these advanced wards so you can use them aggressively. But thus far, we've seen some aggressive wards being planted out, like this one in the jungle, but not just yet any successful moves with the Disruptor to utilize that glimpse in a positive way. It is a bit of a frustration when you pick this hero, and thus far he's just functioned as a regular old support, nothing really special. But it is still early days, a lot can still happen as this game scales further.
They really need the level 6s on the supports for Team Magnus. Shadow Demon is gonna get it now, Disrupted too. Let's see what they can do here.
Dave will be out with the Astral Imprisonment. They still do have access to the Glimpse. They don't get the silence from the Gust, however. Spear of Mars tossed back after the arena, and they do get some damage out onto Zora. They drag him back now with the Glimpse, and Sonic Wave will clean him up. Does come at the cost of Shrapnet's life, but they don't care about this. They're happy, and they got 3 heroes caught inside a kinetic field. No follow-up, however. Mark did jump in and got meme hammered. They'll be able to take out the Queen of Flame. Dropping the Sonic Wave was not going to be enough earlier on in the fight, because without it, you have no counterplay against Sanity's Eclipse. So the burst emerges from the OD. 2 heroes fall quickly thereafter.
OD?
And those, oh no, OD picks up a regen rune. Will Astral himself to try and heal up as much as possible, but unfortunately the damage with these 2 supports. You mentioned that if they have their ultimates, they can kill a core hero, and that is definitely going to be the case. They don't even need them at that point. They find the 1 kill. Jack also in onto Zor. He tried to help his OD. Won't be in too much trouble though, because once Rubik arrives, everybody else decides, yeah, let's back off. We've had been phase vaulted, we're taking less damage, we're dealing less damage. But Rubik also went too far forward, so he's the one that pays the price. That was a very chaotic fight and a very long one here, Wingblade. A lot happened in that situation.
It looks like it slightly favors Felt now. Actually, with those final 2 kills, it does favor Team Magnus. But yeah, that was all over the place. Like 7 ultis used, lots of heroes dying. And a bit of disrespect from the Quap as well, blinking into the Meteor Hammer. It really does feel terrible to play Quap in the late early game like this with just 1 point in blink.
Yep. Potentially, in that fight might have been relying on Trapnest to be able to save him with the disruption, but sadly, it's not going to be the case. Mark did get brought down there. So now we look towards these item builds for Felt. They're going for this Hand of Midas to follow up on this Meteor Hammer. It has to be BKB after this for Solji. At least I hope it's going to be BKB for him. Might opt for a Blink at some point to also help close the gap with his Wraith King, but this game without BKB is already demonstrated to be quite scary for this OG, so should definitely do what he can to ameliorate that situation. Same time, we see Zor not going to go for this, just want Heaven's Halberd. And given that there's only one major right clicker on the other side of Team Magnus, this feels like it can be a super value item for this game.
Yeah, for sure. It's looking like this is starting to become the meta for OD. Meme Hammer into Midas into either Blink or BKB. Comfort is gonna get disrupted here. No Demonic Purge coming out just yet. It looks like the Wraith King is gonna be going for the Desolator first.
Yeah, so gonna be close up, but they're taking a fight right now. The boat's gonna crash in onto the Shadow Demon, but they're inside the arena and Static Storm drop down onto the Kunkka and the Wraith King. They don't have enough damage to kill either. Comfort, Armlet toggling, gonna be able to survive quite a lot. The drag back on with the glimpse, they bring the Kunkka into the fray, but it's gonna cost them the life of this Mars potentially. He gets brought back into a death knell. At the same time, Sonic Wave flew through Zor, but not gonna be enough to get the kill. They just toss this Mars back. No way to do anything, and Telekinesis got the save. Take that. The damage was enough for them to bring down Mars, and despite a lot of spells being used in this mid lane, all they really have to commit from Felt is the life of the Wraith King, and they just get the pure reward of grabbing the Mars and the Shadow Demon at the end of the day.
Team Magnus dealt like the same damage as Team Felt, but they got 0 kills. Just so much tankiness on the side from Felt. They have a hood on Kunkka, they have the boat of course, and 2 lives on Wraith King is quite a big deal, because he already has close to 2000 HP, which is a lot to get through in a fight.
I think it'll probably be a little bit easier once they get the Queen of Pain Orchid as well. You know, she's still a little bit away from being able to pick that one up. It does feel like Felt are a little bit too free in the middle of these engagements. So we'll see if Team Magnus can help fix that issue as they lose their tier 1 tower. Also, we didn't really speak about the Magnus's item build. He opted in this game to just go for Soul Ring directly into getting a BKB then Blink. So we have no Armlet from him, but we will have always consistent initiation potential and team fight potential from him. And I guess that because they have this Drow in the game, and it's more important that they have heroes in front of him rather than that they have the full jump, at least until Drow has farm. I suppose this is fine, right?
Yeah, he doesn't really need to initiate, I guess. He just needs to make sure that he counter initiates when they jump on his Drow. Disruptor does get the deny.
Nice. Always nice. Always feels good. Tower's at 6 HP. He's the one that cleans it up. And now we'll start to try and get as many stacks as possible on these Ancients for the Drow Rangers benefit a little bit later. They have already de-warded any potential sentries that might be blocking these camps, so they are ready to get this acceleration going for the Drow. Right now, she's just sitting with this Dragon Lance, building into the Manta style, slowly but surely, getting to the point where she needs to be. But Felt are also finding their items, and hopefully they find enough items to start playing on the map before that critical moment where Jack is able to pick up a BKB and starts to feel really, really, really dominant in these engagements.
It's still quite a ways away though. And Comfort, he is ready to rumble. Has his Deso, has his Armlet, now working towards a Blink, but this is a very strong point for Wraith King. He's at a point where he can like 2-shot supports, and it's 16 minutes into the game.
Definitely gonna have to make them work for it on the side of Team Magnus for this W. If you're gonna be playing against this crazy strong Comfort right now. Getting closer towards level 15 as well, which will certainly make their pushing prowess a bit better too, because they are in a bit of a bind when it comes to forcing out these structures as we've seen before. Now we have a smoke out, Felt.
Is under attack.
He and Wake Me Up want to get on the map. They have Meme Hammer available. Wake Me Up doesn't have a critical item, but he does have the Stolen Spear of Mars, so a Telekinesis initiation would definitely be enough chain disable to kill most targets, if they can find them. There is a Drow nearby, but sadly there's also a Disruptor right there to break a smoke, so it's unlikely that you're going to be able to make that rotation successful.
And Drow is gonna start pulling ahead of the Wraith King. This Drow does farm very fast with a... I want to say new multi-shot ability, but it's been in the game for quite a while now.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's now old hats. Mark? They come across this kill onto the Weaver. They commit the arena for this as well. And they also get a nice ultimate out onto Zor. Static Storm will be there as well. There will be no boat. There will be no easy way to save himself. Gets shot back in the face with the Spear of Mars. Latched onto the wall. Easy kill there for Team Magnus. They're finally going to be able to set up for this tier 1 tower in the mid lane. And the Mars did the right thing. Committed the God's Rebuke so that Rubik, if he steals something, doesn't get the very good spell. Gets the one that's super mediocre on this hero.
If he wants to, he can just toggle Bulwark after every spell cast. That's a bit of a bother.
That's too much effort. No, rather force the Rubik to have to walk into your face and use God Rebuke, you know. It's Comfort showing up to try and help the team defend the tier 1. They're not going to be able to do so, and the jump in from the Mars, not going to commit the arena. It doesn't have it available, but with these illusions from Jack, they have the right click damage to take the first life from Comfort, caught inside the kinetic field. They're not going to push their luck and try force the next fight, because Zora has returned on this Kunka, so a lot easier to just retreat. So it's like pretty long cooldown on the reincarnation for Comfort. I doubt they'll try and find him again, but they have revealed that it is possible to kill him, despite the advantages that he has for himself, despite being the network leader on the map. Certainly can't play too aggressively at this point. Still needs to watch his positioning lest he gets caught by very, very bothersome spells from the side of Team Magnus.
And the Manta on Drow is so nice because Wraith Fire Blast is maybe the easiest spell to dodge with a Manta. You can just press it at any moment during the time where it's in the air and it's gonna dodge.
Is it easier than Unstable Concoction?
Yeah, because the hitbox for Concoction can be a little bit weird if it's thrown at a long range.
Now I'm just trying to think of like other spells that are super easy to disjoint. I think, yeah, Wraith Fire Blast might be the easiest, and oh, missed Gust from the Drow Ranger, but still hit the big hit onto Wake Me Up. Marksmanship helps with the additional damage, and there come the multi-shot arrows. Very fast kill. They're also chasing the OD. They find him with the Static Storm. There's no BKB. There's no help. We'll try to delay this as long as possible with the Astral Imprisonment, but it's only a delay. Practically a false promise. And not only, oh man, this is actually just oppressive. They don't only kill the OD, they jump in and take out the chicken as well. That's kind of rude, but okay. Team Magnus showing their strength on the map right now.
Corp is gonna have a BKB soon as well. Did they spot the Weaver? Looks like they did, but they're not gonna find him. Steel Boycott is gonna be completely fine.
Yeah, it's cool. It's gonna be very close towards finishing this Aghanim Scepter. Just 2,000 gold away in total.
I would really love to see Drow Ranger buying an E-Blade.
E-Blade for this game. Oh, we'll talk about that in a second, but Comfort just jumps in onto the Disruptor. They find revenge for the death on the OD, and now they're going in the arena, beautifully committed onto 2. What will they get out of this? Sonic Wave emerges to get the first life out of this Wraith King, but Jack is so low, and they've already used the save, and Wraith King with the blink directly onto Drow does his job in the fight. Takes out the enemy carry. Everybody else is trying to TP out. Astral Imprisonment will prevent Mars from being able to do that. He gets right click down, and at the same time they found Mark in the trees. How did that happen, Wingblade?
Wake Me Up just no-scoped him with his spear. I want to see if we can get a replay on that one, because that was
Dire's
beautiful.
top tower is under attack.
What?
Dire's
A
top
stolen
tower has
spear
fallen.
to get a snipe onto Mark while he's trying to get out with the TP. That's crazy. And there's the tip. Wow, okay. He's like, thanks for the spear, buddy. That allowed me to get the kill. All right, let's see this on the replay. Will we get the vision? So there's one spear already being very useful. Putting him towards the corner. And we see what you were talking about, that once Wraith King gets on top of Drow, it's just, she has to flee immediately. There's nothing that she can do in this situation. Oof. And we just saw the spear right off camera. We don't get the clear vision of it, but we do get to see the kill happening at the end. Everybody else getting cleaned up. And middle, we're right back into the action. Toss back onto Zor. Ukunka static stormed up right now. There will be a meme hammer drop down onto the Smars. Arena not up again for another 5 seconds. It's gonna be 5 seconds too many. As the Smars get taken out. Felt right now just feeling so strong on the map. 6k gold lead for them. They are just keeping this chain going. They will not stop. Torrent crosses up Trapness right after the disruption. Ostensibly saves them. But it just makes it easier for them to surround him. And Felt, they just don't want to stop. Bounding from kill to kill to kill to kill. Not going to give this girl any time to get the farm that she needs to be the big damage dealer on the map.
Just look at the graphs. That is insane. I haven't seen a graph jump up like that in a while. Looked to be going very well for Magnus, and then suddenly, boom. Now Roche as well, and Magnus really has no way to contest this. And Whoop still working towards the BKB. Drow Ranger now working towards the BKB as well, but still over 1,000 gold away.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
This might be one of the most impactful, like, 3 minutes that we've seen from a team in a very long time. You bound from one fight bottom to a big fight middle into a Roshan. From not just an even game, like you mentioned, they were losing earlier on. It was even on gold, but experience and the win probability both were trending in favor of Team Magnus. But now everything is switched up. And look how big everybody is. BKB now out for the Wraith King in tandem with his Armlet, Deso Blink.
Ooh,
They've got
nice.
Meme Hammer BKB for OD.
He has
They come
BKB
across
in
Mars.
100. Oh, he survives.
Alright. Some Nico reactions time from him right there. Gets himself away. He's completely safe. He's fine. No problem.
And Comfort is farming so aggressively. Like Felt has almost complete map control.
I mean, who can fight him on the map right now? 2.5k HP. Still has a double life. He's about to crack level 20 as well. So this is a very scary looking Comfort. And he actually just jumps forward onto Trapness. You said how many hits? Okay, he's not going to be able to 3-shot Trapness, but definitely would have died if he didn't have that Glimmer Cape available. Marksmanship or the usage of these multi-shot arrows, or no, Drow Ranger definitely would not have enough damage to dissuade Wraith King from completing that chase. But he had no reveal, so forced to just back himself away in that situation.
At the same time, Mark is pressuring tier 3s though.
Is under attack.
They're not gonna come back to this. Mark is sticking around. They're still delaying the take on the tier 2 tower. We have a jump forward though by Solji. They want to take this 4v5 fight. The disruption will come at the same time as the Astral, but they still manage to bring down Disruptor. He dropped the Static Storm on his head, but OD already had the BKB active. Now we do come out with the arena. Spear of Mars does get stolen by Wake Me Up. OD trying to save himself with this Astral Imprisonment. Will be able to do so by blinking out to safety. They did buy back on the Disruptor. Mark also returned to the side of the fight, so he couldn't keep the push going bottom. And sadly, they don't find what they need. Great Fire Blast. Manta dodged by Jack. He's trying to get himself away right now. Will be able to do so walking up the hill. Spear of Mars connects directly onto this Weaver. It gets saved by the Astral Imprisonment. Mars might not be so lucky though. Gets jumped on by Comfort. But there's going to be the disruption, keeping him alive. So they take out the first life from Comfort. Solji came into the fight, dropped down the Sanities. They do take away the life, but it's just the Aegis life. Jack somehow still alive in the BKB timing. Mark doesn't have that though. So his BKB expired a bit too soon, so he ends up losing his life in the fight. Great Fire Blast thrown onto the Shadow Demon on the high ground as they take out the Mars on the low. Trying to run away, trying to get out with the Glimmer Cape. Does manage it, but everybody else on Team Magnus just having so many struggles with this fight. And because they have this Kunkka here, to get additional health, mana, whatever kind of regen you need, even if you need a new item, very easy for Felt to be able to achieve. And that fight felt like, well, you know, excuse the pun, but it really did feel like Felt have gone from that one engagement where it was, okay, we're very dominant in this game, to now being in a position where to lose, we the ones that have to start making mistakes at this point.
Yeah, even with the BKBs, it still feels like a lot of these Team Magnus heroes are very squishy. The reason for that is probably because they are very squishy. Like, they have almost a full lineup of like squishy ranged heroes. The one notable exception being Mars, and I guess Drow Ranger has 1900 HP as well, which isn't too bad. But all things considered, with these blinks and tanky heroes on Feld, it doesn't look like Magnus can really create the distance for their heroes to really be able to do anything. And Drow Ranger is going to be going for a Butterfly. I would still prefer the E-Blade. Because no one can really damage you if you E-Blade yourself. Or one of your teammates for that matter, because it's not like a Rubik with his Fate Bolt is suddenly gonna kill core heroes. Yeah, we see the team fight. The Spear is gonna miss. Slightly mistimed with the BKB. But even then, OD still had the Aegis, so it wouldn't have been too bad.
Yep. Just look what happens when they get onto Jack every single time. Actually, just any of these heroes. Whenever they can get this Raid King of Comfort directly onto you, even the ostensibly tanky Mark on the Mars doesn't really have a solution for this kind of damage, and Jack especially doesn't have a solution for what happens if they just run at him. Really was lucky to be able to stay alive, and again, from the Rubik, another Spear of Mars onto Quap that gets her killed. At this point, Wake Me Up just has to be like, keep giving me the spell. I like it. It's very useful for me and my team. And once I get this Yule Scepter, I already have the setup with Blink Spear into Telekinesis, but now I can use Yule Scepter to set you up for the Spear, Telekinesis to set you up for a different spell in the fight. You might even have situations where this Wraith Fire Blast could connect onto this Drow Ranger if the Rubik can find the correct lift in the fight.
Like, we've seen bigger impact from Spears from Rubik than we have from Mars. I was gonna say a similar thing because I see TeamSpeak problems very often, and it just feels like a very 2012 thing to do.
Listen, right? I use Discord on almost a daily basis, and there are times where I'm actually much happier to be in TeamSpeak, honestly. I think there's no app that I use as often as Discord that I despise as much as I do. Like, TeamSpeak, I'm with them. I will allow Team Magnus to be old school, y'all. You know, be old school. Keep to the old ways. You know, type in greeters good 99999.
I mean, it does give you an excuse for tactical pauses all the time.
Exactly. Now you see the situation at bottom. You might see them kill Solji here. Will he be able to get away? Demonic Purge was out. They just need one more hit. So low on the HP. It's not going to be coming towards them. Instead, Comfort is the one that jumps forward, looking for hits of his own. Jack, BKB TP out will happen, but only barely. Comfort did quite a lot there. Almost was able to dish out some critical damage, but they end up just being able to mount the escape. They did get the kill onto Rubik though, so it's something for the side of Team Magnus. And it's a BKB committal from the Solji OD, so one more charge getting wasted away. Good times right now for the side of Team Magnus, but amazing escape for this OD at the end.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
He was at like 19 HP. At those times, you're really happy you still have a stick in your inventory.
Disruptor does still have a stick of his own as well. Will he trigger it? He's under vision, so he can't get rid of the Swarm Bug, even with the Glimmer Cape, so he ends up losing his life. So trying to drag Mark back into the fray, but X-Marks will not work through this BKB, and Comfort, they take away his first life, but okay. What's the option now? They know he has BKB. They're throwing in these usage of the multi-shot. Arena has been propped down as well, and Comfort just wants to turn his attention back towards the Shadow Demon, but the BKB is finished now. He gets time-lapse. That time-lapse could put him in a bad place. Fortunately, the rest of Team Magnus do not feel confident enough to stay in this fight without BKBs of their own. Jack1 has just
Dire's
returned though on the
bottom
Draw
tower
Ranger,
is under attack.
but still a dangerous proposition to go back in on this. This is very frustrating. Despite seeing that on paper it is possible to kill this Wraith King, it is actually capable of doing it. They can dish out the damage. The rest of Felt just have so many saves, so many ways to frustrate your attempt to make that jump that ultimately it just ends up surviving every single time. To say nothing of how Solji's been annoying them with his own survival plays. Jumps forward, Comfort. Oh, onto Trap Nest. They want to find the spot. Nice! Weaver time-lapse back onto the OD, keeping him alive. They almost got this kill onto the Mars, but the spear from Rubik this time around goes really awry for them, and they've already lost Zor. Wasn't able to stay with the rest of his team on the high ground. He gets caught up on low. Drag back with the glimpse onto Comfort. He does still have the second life. Marcus committed the Sonic Wave. There's Static Storm. They're waiting on the second life. Gust will be there as well. Spear of Mars will not connect. BKB will be there, and a BKB now of Mars' own to dodge out the Wraithfire Blast. So everybody's glowing yellow. Everybody decides to go Super Saiyan. And very little casualties at the end of this fight. Despite a million spells used, it's only really the Kunkka that dies here.
I have to say, that was a beautiful save from Rubik. It was a shame that it was on the wrong team, but the way he saved Miles was magnificent.
Best save you'll see all day. If I was Mars, I would have tipped him. I would have been like, hey man, Spear's a good spell, right? It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, take the shots. Miles now gonna be working towards a Heaven's Howlet, which is gonna be very nice. Oh, but Mark gets taken down. That's a whoops.
BKB not available. They don't have Orchid up at the time. Comfort's just like, well, okay. Sort of like a gift, you know, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Ends up just taking the quick kill. And we get to see, I mean, a lot of these fights, we haven't seen the Wraith King being allowed to just sit on one target and hit them, but there we have it. How many? 4 hits. Wow, okay. On your mid laner. That's great. That always feels fun to die that quickly on this hero.
Yeah, poor Mark.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
I feel like even the AC is probably not gonna make him very tanky, but he needs something.
Yeah. Unfortunately for him, the ACs emerge first on Comfort. So long before he's gonna have the ability to beat himself up, Comfort will be just dragging him down even further with more of this minus armor and more attack speed as well. And what? Alright, this is ridiculous. Comfort just found an Elven Tunic, gotta love it. So it's Wraith King even more dangerous at this point in time. And actually that does bring up what neutral items do we have that are going to allow Team Magnus to come back into the game. Doesn't seem like they have anything super consequential picked up from this round. There's a Mind Breaker that they've just found for themselves, but looking at these heroes on the other side, Mind Breaker does not really feel all that strong. Too many BKBs, too much tankiness. Wraith King's already like about to hit 25, so none of it matters having Mind Breaker. But if they find the smoke gank here, Wingblade, they could potentially still turn this game around and put themselves back in position. But they need to go into the pit, which is being solo sieged right now and Felt. Not yet revealing that they're inside here. Yeah.
They can't focus the Wraith King because there is 2 kinds of saves. Static Storm is wasted. He tried to force the BKBs, but just ended up giving away a big cooldown.
There's absolutely no reason to use any of your BKBs in that situation. Like you said, they're aware that they don't have that great of lockdown, and now here comes Comfort, almost 3-shotting the Disruptor. Get Disruption out onto that hero, but it's not going to be enough to keep him alive. He ends up getting brought down. OD finishes off the Roshan, the Torrent Storm from Zore everywhere. Meantime, Jack isolated on this far edge of the fight. Will he die to the right clicks? Yes, he will. BKB TP out will not be successful. The Spear of Mars, stolen by Wake Me Up, will catch out on the Trap Nest, will be dragged back in. They get the Astral Imprisonment, they get the Meme Hammer out, they get the damage, they get the team fight win. 4 heroes will fall. They get the Aegis on top of it, and now nothing is preventing them from turning that also into getting a lane of racks.
Wraith King is just unstoppable. Both the OD and Weaver kind of exist to facilitate this Wraith King. He is so incredibly strong. He's gonna be 6-slotted.
ridiculous amount of damage just from the sheer right clicks. 5.5k damage came out from that last fight alone, which is kind of amazing considering how much time he spent disrupted, being trying to be dragged back, chasing down targets. So each individual hit certainly doing a number on the Team Magnus lineup. And now they've finished taking this lane of Rax in middle. They're not done just yet, Wingblade. They still have this Aegis. They still feel hella strong on all these heroes. Why not? Let's go for this push. Let's make it happen easily. Also, very quickly now pick up this Aghanim shot. So no mana reincarnation cost for Comfort. Not that it was a problem at all this game. He's died a grand total of 0 times. So he's not found any success on punching through the reincarnation at all.
Yeah, and with the cleave and the swift blink, he clears wave extremely fast.
So what's the counterplay right now for Team Magnus? I know they're smoking out on the map right now, but I don't feel this one smoke will be good enough to really put them back in this game. It's actually an open question if they even find this kill. They have to commit Static Storm for it. I mean, okay, now we just push, I guess. But thankfully for them, they don't actually have buyback on this Weaver at the moment. So by the time he returns to the game, they will have Static Storm back again. But what is the counterplay? Do they do that 100 more times? Is there an item that they can pick up which really turns the game around for them? Or do they just have to hope that they can hold the high ground until Jack gets indomitably farmed? But it feels like the longer this game goes, the less likely that that point in time will arrive because of how far ahead Comfort is right now.
Yeah, they need to somehow kite the Wraith King, because he isn't super tanky. He doesn't even have 3k HP. So it's okay, now he levels up and he does have 3k HP with the amulet, but still. If they can keep finding pickoffs like this and not die for it, they could be in an okay position. It is just very, very difficult because they need to play perfectly. This is not perfect.
Necessary condition was not dying, right? And sadly that condition is not met. Oh, I knew it. I was about to say, if I'm waking me up, I'm 100% tipping him. Like, yeah, man. You came all the way into our jungle to kill me. How did that work out? It's a very, very sad scenario. Oof, that is painful. Does have buyback, but you never want to have to commit the buyback, and you're always really sad about losing your life in exchange for the opposing support. And it doesn't really help them in their prospect on the map, right? Because Comfort can still just happily run by himself looking for Jack. Oh my gosh, Disruptor. 2 shots and you're down to 90 HP. My goodness.
I love how Comfort wanted to go for the Brow Ranger and then accidentally found a Disruptor and almost 3-shot him. That's just a Wraith King experience.
Oh my goodness. Got Basher now as well here, Wingblade. So the situations where we've seen heroes trying to TP out in his face. Before it was a worry of can they have enough HP to survive the damage he's outputting, but now there's no question about that. He has more than enough attack speed that the bash through TP is always going to be pretty much guaranteed. And you know, don't even need to wait for that point because even without this Aegis on him, and Aegis about to expire in 30 seconds on OD, they're on the high ground. They're sieging. They want the second lane of barracks for themselves, or the third lane rather, to get the 4 megas and complete the game at this point. Pike picked up by the Drow. That's the last option, but that means she's bought out. No buyback available for her. They do drag back the OD with this glimpse. Doesn't want to use the BKB just yet because he still has the ally time lapse. Gets thrown out quickly. Wake Me Up finally fails to steal Spear of Mars. Only gets the Bulwark. You know, he's starting to bother with having to do the toggles. He's realized how dangerous the spell can be in the wrong hands.
It just is gone. Let's see if Felt wants to keep going. They should be able to with the time lapse. You could just blink up to the high ground, hit a few times, and then get time lapsed back. Is he willing to commit?
Here we go. X-Marks. Coming back. Mars is going to be able to blink away. You have a disruption onto Comfort, so now his own illusions are beating him down. That's actually not an insignificant amount of damage as OD blinks forward to eviscerate the Disruptor. Will be forced into buying back as 2 heroes, both Mark and Trapnest, caught inside a torrent. They just want to defend These melee racks, Static Storm drop down onto the Kunkka, but the Aghanim shot lift on the Rubik will save him. Comfort jumps forward to get the dieback out onto the Disruptor. In the meantime, just standing his ground, feeling the strongest as the BKB from Salty trying to run down Captain as they get that kill. Sonic Wave coming in from Mark allows him to kill the Reaper, but that's all they get because Mark dies immediately afterwards. Jack and the Smalls no longer have access to BKB, so how on earth do they fight Comfort, who's just activated one of his own, get himself a triple kill by running down the Drow Ranger. He dies without buyback, she brought out for the Hurricane Pike. Now Mars left behind, all alone, will not be able to mount the defense by himself. Will at least help them set up for a kill onto Wake Me Up. You know, that's gonna satisfy Mars at the very least, but doesn't satisfy anybody else on the team. As they lose the fight, they lose the racks, they lose the game. GG is called. Belts take game number 1. Woo. This best of 3 set is looking good for them. And they are looking like they are not gonna allow themselves